bands. But because we won't do percentage, the university will only allow to give you a pass. You won't get the bands on the thing, you will only get a pass. So you need a high pass.
Okay, hello everyone. We're, as a group, decided that we wanted to focus our presentation on student perceptions and perspectives of feedback. Okay?
The outline for our presentation is going like this. So first we get to give an overview of feedback, and then we get to talk about the current practice of giving feedback at different schools. And at the end of the presentation, we get to make some comparisons and to talk about the outcomes from our study.
The feedback in general, it's a process of information inputting and the processing and then output return the information. Basically, it's the process one give the information to process two, and then process two have some processing and then return the information. Vice versa, it's vice versa. It can be the process B return input to process A. So that's a general term, and the information has to be based on criteria, certain criteria, and the process has to be constructed, and the return information has to be in certain language acceptable and understand. And in terms of the feedback in the higher educational domain, it's basically to inform the students of where and how their learning and performance can be improved. And recognizing the strengths and weaknesses, etc. But there are lots of definitions. I'm not going through all this list of you. In terms of the UK PSS framework, the assessment of feedback came academic area. So it's very important. And how to give feedback in a constructive way. And there are a lot of literature it's very good to follow. And several principles of good feedback is like June in 2004. A lot of people reference that. And 10 principles of good assessment and feedback by Nico in 2007. That's also been referenced a lot of times. And we've been taught by in this module, establish feedback. And what we need to remember is feedback is process, is dialogue, not a one-off event. There are also some rules to follow. And what students say about feedback?
Thank you. We know that someone will talk a little bit about the definition of feedback, what feedback is, what the best practices in higher education according to UK PSF. And our presentation is actually focused on students' perceptions of feedback, so not just how it's defined and what the best thing to do is, but what do students think about it. We know that within the student survey, this is from last year, compared to some of the other areas that students were asked about, feedback was the one that they rated lowest on in terms of satisfaction, and that's comparable to the year before as well. It didn't change very much within that time. We'll see what happens in 2011. That was a national number that I gave you, but in terms of what happened at the University of Salford, these are the ratings of student satisfaction in terms of percentage for each of the criteria within feedback. So there again, actually, I'm sorry, the desk is in front of the total, but the overall total for student satisfaction with feedback at Salford is 64%, so that's comparable to the national average and actually slightly below. So, in the School of Social Work, Psychology, and Public Health, which is where I work, we use this feedback sheet, which you can't really see the details of, but it might be familiar to a lot of you. We're going to show you for each of our 3 schools what we currently use. And they're all very similar. So what you have is just a basically the student's performance being marked from 0 to 100. They get an X in one of those boxes. These are the assessment criteria down the side. So they're marked specifically for each assessment criterion. And then over on the next page, that's the front page, so we do actually draw their attention to the mark in terms of the number by putting it first. And then they get the qualitative feedback, which is in a written form, and this is emailed to students all at the same time after 3 weeks, or not longer than 3 weeks later after they've turned in their work. So in terms of the student's perspective on feedback, I did a survey in my undergraduate year 2 class, and there were 51 students who answered the following question. In my opinion, feedback usually relates to, and they could choose one of these 5 things. I just wanted to know, what do they think feedback is? And most of them chose assessment criteria, so that's good because indeed on the front page of the sheets they get, assessment criteria is really highlighted for them. They also think that feedback generally relates to criteria within psychology benchmarks in our professional field, which is true, but not necessarily highlighted on the feedback sheets they get, so it's interesting that that comes out. I was surprised that less than 50% of them thought about the attainment descriptors in terms of feedback, and that's quite important. So that's an area for me to work on now. We know from the literature that student engagement with the general higher education process, and specifically with methods of assessment and feedback, and their general ability to kind of self-regulate and internalize all of those processes relates to their performance. So also within my survey, I asked them these questions here, and I don't know if you can see them, but let me just summarize for you what you're looking at. Basically, those where students agreed more than feeling neutral were these 3 questions here. And those were all the questions relating to the student's understanding of the assessment criteria, their engagement with the process, their ability to see how feedback can also feed forward, for instance. And particularly the one where they said they agreed the most on my little survey was that they want to have more say in how their work is assessed. So what I'm going to do to follow up on this is the following. Basically, taking the results from my own survey, what we know about the literature, and also these particular aspects of the professional standards framework for higher education, I'm going to try and promote students' engagement even more, because it seems that the more they understand what's going on and the more they understand how they can use feedback, the more control they feel they have, and not only the more they perform well, the better they feel about it. So in terms of enhancing students' understanding of assessment criteria, I've already done this actually, we'll see how it goes, I just did this last week. I also have some input in the elaboration of future attainment descriptors. Supporting the feed-forward process, also asking them to look at bridges between assessment criteria for different assignments, and then I'm going to do a follow-up survey to evaluate whether my activity has helped them at all. So that will relate to this point here in the beginning of that. And now turn it over to Sam.
Thank you. Okay, so as with Sarah, this is the School of Art and Science feedback sheet. When I was going through this process, it was really useful, so I realised I was using an undergraduate feedback sheet last year, so I've now got the correct sheet. But in terms of undergraduate and postgraduate, it's very similar, except in the undergraduate, the learning outcomes are then the written assessment is directly against it. In here, you've got more just the generalised tutor comments. The assessment criteria is designed to be used with the skill grade descriptors so that the students have got consistency of feedback across all levels. With skill art design, the feedback sheet is completed within and given back as a hard copy to students within 3 weeks. And one of the most important things I think is that is given with alongside an individual tutorial. It is taught through the students receive feedback at the same time, and so I'll discuss in a minute. That's a very important. I put a photograph from the studio spaces because usually it's fed back alongside the student's work that they've obviously got in front of them. So either myself or the student can refer back to their work. Even though the feedback is summative feedback, within these School of Art and Design courses, it has to still be formative feedback. It's according to Browns and Knight, if formative assessment is include coursework, then all the way through we run, with coursework, we just build upon each module, and so there's never an end point, even though there has to be some end point. We don't, as a school, give out grade marks until the end of the year, so that they will get a feeling of where they are, but they don't get the actual grade. And I did a survey with my students, and the key thing that came out of that was that the spoken feedback is more important to our students than the written feedback, as you can discuss and clarify, and then it is a two-way process. Another thing specific to my own course is it's within the work-based learning framework, and so my students are also working and they're reflecting on their own professional practice. So I have to be very careful when giving feedback that, okay, the feedback is an academic exercise, but equally I don't want to be making judgments on their professional practice outside of the university. Thinking again about my students in particular, it's interesting to know if they understand about what their marks mean, and certainly we've got a lot of students who have dyslexia in the school, so again that delivering of feedback with oral feedback is very important. And again, I think the school policy is right on not giving a numeric number at the same time.
And in the school languages, we have a bit different method of giving feedbacks. We use a hard copy evaluation form like this, and normally we will, the lecturer will need to write down the written feedbacks here. And for the undergraduate students, we need the second marker, and for graduate students, we need to both have the second marker and also the external marker. And in this evaluation sheet, and we have a grade descriptor, which specifies what kind of feedbacks we're supposed to give to them, and we normally highlight about the language errors, and because that's for this business interpreting, we need to highlight about the interpreting strategies and also the cultural variance, because most of the students at the school of languages, they are learning languages, and normally we have 4 weeks turnover. And for this, I did a case study from the very beginning of the semester, and this was one of the courses or module I taught last semester in business interpreting. And throughout the semesters, we give different forms of feedbacks. One of them that we give throughout the semester is the in-class scenario or immediate feedbacks. And we also have student search feedbacks, which is at the middle of the term. And for midterm evaluation assessment, we give them electronic feedbacks in written, and we also provide it twice with audio and video feedbacks. And at the end of the semester, or 2 months after the exam was taken, after the whole module was finished, we give them both written and video verbal feedbacks. And also, we also give verbal feedbacks for once. And as you can see, the results for that in-class feedback was very popular. Students were very happy with that, and also students were very happy with the verbal and written feedbacks. And about the feedbacks in the learning process, in this literature about why the students' learning the feedbacks can enhance students' learning, the results shows that most of the students think that's true, that match to that result, but not all the students agree with that. And another thing is we also asked about the students about the time used for the feedbacks, to rate the feedbacks, and that turned out that most of the lectures we spent more than 20 minutes to give the feedbacks, but the students spent less than 20 minutes to rate the feedbacks. So whether the feedbacks are useful or not, that's the question. In terms of the quality of the feedbacks and also the improvement of the feedbacks, the students have given us they were happy, they were both thinking that the time, the content, and also the deliveries are very important. And they also give us several suggestions about what to improve in this feedback. And one of the suggestions they suggested, for example, they would like to have a good and balanced and negative and positive feedbacks. And they would like to have more oral feedbacks. And they would also appreciate more different methods of feedbacks. And that's what we do in School of Languages.
I'm going to say this is the school of building environment feedback because my class is very specific GIS class, which is only a small part of the digital design module. It is not assessed directly, in fact, indirectly assessed by how the students can use the GIS tool to do their project. So my feedback method is if you want informal feedback. It's all class I have interactions between students groups and also between me and the students. And also Eurostake feedback, they can read something and give it to me. I can actually learn this from this module. And after class feedback, I use telephone and face-to-face conversation and emails, work discussion group, etc. These are very useful in becoming students feedback. So that's it.
Oh, right, so we just have a comparison. We'll just skip through this. This is just a comparison of things we've already said, a summary across the schools. And again, we'll skip through this and do some of the main points of the student perspective across the schools that we found.
So now what we can do to take it forward, and one of the things we were thinking is to present our results to the teaching and learning forum, so we could discuss it with the other experts in this area.
Yep, we have a strong commitment to continuing to develop and evaluate our professional practice.
And we'd like to make it to become agenda items on staff development days within our own personal schools.
We think it's very useful to use mixed methods like traditional face-to-face and writing and all the feedback method. Also, the new technique enhanced emails and discuss forums, etc.
Thank you very much for listening.
Right, okay. One of those. Right, so can you